When the full-time whistle went at the City ground yesterday as we lost 1-0 to Nottingham Forest, I found myself really frustrated. It probably came across in the review. I don't know. I didn't go watch the review for a second time, but what I have done is watch the game for a second time today. I watch every single game twice because I think it's important to me anyway, because I see this more things second time reviewing because I've removed the emotion, haven't I? So the Declan Rice penalty, for example, today I know Declan Rice is a way to have a poor effort. It's going to be a good save from Henderson. I can watch it and not react to it whatsoever. Whereas yesterday, I watched it through my fingers thinking, please Declan, please. No, Declan, no! That is removed. That part of it is gone. And I have to say, I probably reevaluated my opinion on yesterday's game a little bit. Certainly with one or two individual player performances as well and the game itself. But I still carry that frustration, and it's quite a strong frustration as well, but I think it's at the overall situation around the game rather than the 90 minutes itself. I'm probably doing a bad way of explaining it, but hopefully as I break it down it becomes a little bit more obvious what I'm trying to say here. So in regards to the actual 90 minutes on the pitch yesterday, I think we are unlucky to come away with something. Yesterday I felt that Nottingham Forest possibly deserved to win it, but today I do think, naturally no, we were unfortunate because on another day we do score 2, 3, 4 goals. There's plenty of examples where we came close to scoring. Ben Rama hitting the bar off the line, the disallowed goal. Pablo Fornals hitting the bar off the line. Thomas Souček's header following up that chance. A really good save from Dean Henderson. Declan Rice's penalty missed, but not only that, Souček's shot that led to the penalty on another day, hopefully, he puts it a couple of yards the other side. The defender's not there to handball it. And I think Dean Henderson would have saved it, but I think Dean Henderson would have parried it as well. His hands looked like he was going to parry it. Therefore, back into the box, something else happens. Kurt Zouma had a header cleared offline as well. We could easily have scored 2 or 3 yesterday. And on another day, we do. But the fact of the matter is, we didn't. We lost 1-0. However, the performance perhaps wasn't as bad as I might have felt at the full-time whistle yesterday. But the reason I think I was frustrated at yesterday's performance is not necessarily because of yesterday's performance, but because of the bigger picture, if you like. And I'm taking various different things into consideration here. First of all, is when the lineup come out, obviously there's no new signings. That's a minor frustration. Of course it's going to be. I'm a football fan. Football fans want to see the new signings in the team. It's just something you do as a football fan. Why wouldn't you? Your club have just forked out X million on a new player. You're excited to see him. You know a little bit about him. You might have seen stuff that he's going to bring. You might know who he's going to replace, and you're not the guy that he is going to replace has been out of form for a little while. Whatever the reason is, you get excited to see new signings. So when the team come out yesterday, and it was as you were, you do start to think, oh, come on. And even if you think, well, you're wrong to do that, that's fine. Well, let's take the manager's comments after the game against Brighton. Last game of the season, just gone, where we got beat, we lost out in the Europa League, and David Moyes said something along the lines of, they're going to play like that, they're going to get sold. That's not good enough. Yet we're playing the same players in yesterday's game. Now, I know the transfer window is still open, but we had £50 million worth, well, if you include Downs, worth £60 million worth of signings. If you include Areola, we've got £70 million worth of signings sat on the bench yesterday with Scamacca and Cornet as well. So that was a minor frustration. But then there's the bench itself. You're allowed 9 players on there. We only had 8, and 2 of them were goalkeepers. So you can make 5 substitutions. And yes, the heat has to be taken into consideration yesterday. So substitutions arguably is more important in circumstances like that. And we've only got 6 outfield players there to use for 5 allocated spaces and substitutions. We only ended up using 3. And it just felt like before the game even kicked off, we were sort of at a slight disadvantage with one hand tied behind our back through our own making. Now, Nottingham Forest is actually the perfect club to prove that you don't have to wait till the end of August for signings. They started with 8 new signings in their lineup yesterday. And I know they're bringing in loads of players. Of course, the more signings you do, the greater the chances that they're going to be in the starting 11. But there's a club that needed to bring in 15 to 20 new signings this summer, and they're doing it. They've done that, and they're still looking to bring in 2 or 3 more. Now, whether that'll work out for them over the course of the season, I don't know. I think it will. I've said it from before the ball was kicked in the Premier League. I think Nottingham Forest will stay up, and I think they'll stay up comfortably. I think not top half, but I think 14, 15, 13 in that positions in the Premier League come May. I think Forest will be in and around there. But there's a club that started off the summer transfer window with urgency, with a strong plan. Because if you look at all the players they're bringing in, they're following a similar player profile. You look at the person in charge at the City Ground of bringing in players with the experience of the Bundesliga. What's the market they're tapping into this summer? It's the Bundesliga. And the English one as well. But the German one's where they're venturing into to bring players over. But yet, as a fan, the frustration of the lack of signings, the lack of bench is there. Then you have the centre-back situation. And this is where, yes, it's unfortunate Aguerd got injured. But he got injured at Ibrox about a month ago. We've known for a month our new signing is out until probably after the World Cup. So that's that gone. The club have known all summer how Ogbonna's struggling to get back, how his rehab is still going. Because from this very start of the summer in terms of the friendlies, we have seen Ogbonna in a very, very limited amount of minutes. And even with some of the friendlies, he wasn't even in the squad. He was with the under-21s. So the club have known all summer that Ogbonna's not on track to make it for the start of the season. The club are probably knowing all summer that Issa Diop wants out. And now, the Issa Diop thing isn't a surprise. And it's not like he's woke up and decided, I don't fancy playing for West Ham today, I'm going to request a transfer. Him moving is a consequence of him not being involved last season, so on and so forth. He's wanted to leave. So that's not a surprise that Issa Diop has wanted to depart West Ham. So that leaves Dawson and Zuma. Now, Dawson has missed most of the pre-season games through injury. Kurt Zuma has certainly been patched up for a couple of friendlies and then last week as well. So the centre-back situation is not a new one. So we start the Man City game last week. Johnson and Zuma, City scored 2. Johnson's at fault for both goals. Zuma has got to take part of the blame anyway for the second goal. So what do we do? Well, we don't bring in a centre-back. So we go into Nottingham Forest one with the same defence again. And they struggled, I felt. Ben Johnson and Kurt Zuma, I felt, struggled yesterday. But like I said, my sympathy only goes so far in regards to that circumstances, because it's circumstances of our own making. But then we look at the form of West Ham United and going back to last season, because I think that's all you can do. Going back to last season, 1 win in 10 for West Ham in all competitions, actual competitions, not friendlies, but the Premier League, the Europa League, 1 win in 10, and that was against Norwich City. It's not great, is it? It is not great. We've almost continued a little bit as to how we left off at the end of the season, and we've lost 7 of our away games in the Premier League in 2022. So this calendar year, we've lost 7 of our 10 games. So the form, it's not great. And I think this is where my frustration came from yesterday. Not necessarily what I'd witnessed in 90 minutes. A little bit of that, because some of the poorer performers were poor performers last season. Some of the problems we had last season, and we have failed to rectify them in the summer transfer window yet. And I'm aware there's still time to bring players in, but these are points up for grabs. Now, the City one, I am willing to discard that game, okay? Reluctantly, I'm willing to say, right, fine. It's Man City. I hate doing it, but I'm willing to do it. I think come the end of the season, they're out there 38 games this season. I expect Manchester City to win 30 of them, right? But yesterday against Nottingham Forest, if we want European football again, 3rd season on the trot to qualify for it through merit in the league, you've got to be picking up at least a point at games like yesterday. Because come the end of August, we've got Brighton up next, and we've got Aston Villa just round the corner. After that, we've got Tottenham, Chelsea, Newcastle. We've got a real tough run coming up. And I think that adds into the frustration, because I thought, well, I know there's that old myth, and it is a myth. There's no easy games in the Premier League. There is some easy games. Let's be honest with you. There's some easy games in the Premier League. There just is. I don't know who. It depends on form, it depends on injuries, so on and so forth. We've got Aston Villa coming up. I'll be honest, I don't fear them. Today, despite everything, I'm feeling relatively comfortable that we will beat Aston Villa in a couple of weeks' time. I'm aware there's a Premier League game before then, by the way. I know that's not our next opponents, but I've missed them out on purpose, right? But points are important. We look at last season, we missed out on the Europa League by 2 points, right? If that happens again, this is one of the games you might just look back and say, well, had we got a centre back in on time, we might have gained that 3 points that would have got us up in a loftier position. Each Premier League position is worth approximately £2 to £3 million in prize money. So if you're going to miss out on 4 points in August because you haven't got your signings done, that 4 points could be worth, I don't know, 6 to 8 million come the end of the season. So that 6 to 8 million you've saved in August is completely wiped out because you've just lost out on 6 to 8 million in prize money. Now, I appreciate everything is hypothetical here, but it just feeds into the frustration that I carried yesterday. The substitutions as well. Like I said, you've got 5 at the minute. We only used 3. Now, would Flynn Downs have come on and changed the game in our favour? Probably not. But we could have tried something. The substitutions during the game was just like for like. Jared Bowen was bang out for him. That was his worst game. I think that was possibly the worst game I've seen him play in a West Ham United shirt. But we had a left-footed right winger struggling to make an impression in the game. He was trying to cut inside. It wasn't working. So we took him off and we put it on a left-footed winger on the right wing to cut inside. It's not... I think there has been... I don't want to say an overreaction. I include myself in that, by the way. Like I said, I got really frustrated yesterday. Watching the game back today, I feel like we were unlucky. But it's not necessarily 90 minutes yesterday that's dictating my mood. It's more, I guess, worry. We've had it good for the last 2 seasons. We've been punching above our weight for the last 2 seasons. I want us to keep doing that. I want European football next season. Hopefully we'll qualify for it in the next couple of weeks, on this Thursday, next Thursday. Hopefully we can get a win and a draw and then get into the group stages. Happy days. But I want to qualify for European football for 2023/24. I like it. I enjoy it. I think it makes us a more of an attractive club. Could we have lured Neif Aguerd and Gianluca Scamacca without a form of European football last season and this season? We might have done. I don't know. It's hypothetical. But I like playing in this competition. The chance, I guess the dream of possibly winning the European trophy, because that's what I want to win this season. We have to go out and try and win this Europa Conference League. And yesterday was just, I don't know how to explain it, because at the end of the day, listen, the game itself was always going to be a tricky one. I wasn't confident in the preview. You know, every preview, the second last question is always, are you confident? My answer to Gonzo was no, I'm not confident. I was optimistic, I was hopeful, but I certainly wasn't confident. And yesterday we were going to a team playing their first home game in the Premier League for 23 years. It was always going to be difficult. The atmosphere was going to be good. And out the 3 promoted sides, none of them have lost their first game. Fulham drew against Liverpool. Bournemouth beat Aston Villa, and now Nottingham Forest beat West Ham. So when you look at it as a collective, it's not the worst result in the world. But I don't think anyone is claiming it's the worst result in the world. I think people are just a little bit worried that we're moving in the wrong direction. I always say, I've said it for years, I'll always say it, there's no such thing as standing still in football. And Declan Rice has said it this summer as well. So, you know, if you don't believe me, believe Declan. And Moyes has said something, or it wasn't Moyes, was it? It was Nevin. After one of the friendlies, Nevin said something along those lines as well. But in football, you're either going forwards or backwards. And I think the worry from some, and I can only speak for myself here, but certainly for me, the worry for me is that we're moving perhaps in the slightly wrong direction, which is not European football. So, yes, I'm going to leave it there. That's all I want to talk about, really, because like I said, I think my frustration yesterday wasn't necessarily getting beat 1-0 by Nottingham Forest. I mean, that's never ideal, is it? But looking at the game, and the game only, and removing emotion, we were unlucky. We were unlucky not to get something from that game. But when you add in the transfers, when you add in the form, when you add in what we still need in this transfer window, when you add in the injury crisis, because it is an injury crisis at centre-back, when you add in the poor form of certain individuals over the last couple of games, and that goes back to last season as well, when you add that in, when you add in the loss of Stuart Pearce, is Stuart Pearce easily replaceable? How big a part did he play last season? Can we replace him? The answer is we don't know. I'll never know the answer. You'll never know the answer, because we're not at the training ground. We don't know how big a say Stuart Pearce had, but we've lost a coach which made up 20% of David Moyes' backroom staff. However you want to look at it, he's gone. Yes, I know we've got in Mark Warburton. I was happy with the appointment of Mark Warburton. In terms of CV, I think it's a fantastic appointment, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. You know, we've bought really good players before at West Ham, and it's not worked out. It doesn't mean he's a bad player, it just means it's a bad transfer. And just like Mark Warburton coming in, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean he's a bad manager or a bad coach. It just hasn't worked out. So, and also then we've got the Mark Noble thing, haven't we? How big a loss is Mark Noble? Well, we knew he was going to be a huge loss. But how big were we going to bridge that gap, if you like? Was Declan Rice going to step up into his shoes? We don't know. Has Declan Rice been a good captain last season? He has. But the big difference between today and last season was Mark Noble was still at the club. Mark Noble was still sort of captain Monday to Friday. Declan would then get the armband on a Saturday. Well, that's not the case anymore. Declan is now captain Monday through to Sunday and then onwards again, isn't he? It's a bigger role for Declan Rice this season. Will he cope? Pardon me. We don't know. So that's where I'm at today anyway. Got the European game on Thursday, and you know something? I'm glad we've got it, because I think, well, I'm hoping we win, but we need a lift, and we need a lift quick. And there's only two ways we can do that, probably. To the fans, winning on Thursday and getting a transfer, getting a new signing in ASAP as well. Hopefully this week we can get someone in. But I said that last week, and nothing happened. But I wouldn't say I'm worried. What's the thing? I mean, my prediction for this season was 8th. I'm sticking with that. The first two games of the season, losing to Man City, like I said, that's not going to determine it. I was expecting that anyway. But that depends on us getting in adequate signings, right? That depends. That 8th prediction relies on us bringing in a new centre back now, a left back, centre midfielder, an attacking midfielder, whatever. Getting the new boys settled in like Cornet and Skamaka. So I'm not worried. I'm just a bit nervous, maybe. A little bit nervous. But yesterday, unlucky. Let's get some business done. Let's get the win on Thursday. And then hopefully, finally, we can get something against Brighton on Sunday. Because we don't want to be looking at the league table this time next week and see West Ham second bottom, just above Man United, played 3, lost 3. That is not what we want at all. Anyway, hopefully that makes some sort of sense. I'm going to disappear now, but if you've somehow enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe to your channel. I'll be back tomorrow. I might have 2 videos tomorrow, so I might have a little video I want to talk about, and then we'll have our preview of the Europa Conference League up tomorrow evening as well. Catch you then.